She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
As somebody said recently, like, this is a mastermind group, and I had never thought about it that way. And we're always like brainstorming ideas, either through our one-on-one lunches, and we're thinking of ways to do new things. Like, I want to make it more educational as well and have different speakers talk about, morning routines and just different life hacks. How do we balance and manage it?
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. You just heard a little bit of my conversation with Ericka Aviles. In this episode, we are talking about opportunity. Ericka has embraced so many opportunities head on in order to reach success. So we're going to dive into those details of what it really took for her to take those chances. Community. How does a community support itself and the people in it? How can it be more vulnerable? And how do we make the most of building lasting relationships? And finally, we're going to be talking about asking for more. When you know you're doing well, especially in your job, it can be difficult to know when it's okay to ask for something like a raise or a promotion. So we're going to talk about finding that confidence that's going to get things the way that you deserve them, the way that you have earned them. There's a lot to get into, but for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Amy Landino, and I will be your host. I'm a YouTube creator, podcaster, business coach, public speaker, and best-selling author. I'm here to help you go after the life you want. You can find out more details at youtube.com/AMYTV. I am pumped to bring you another awesome episode from our friends at MGM at the Women's Leadership Conference. Ericka was a lovely lady I got to meet while I was there. And you're going to hear about how she has built her thing and made her mark in the Las Vegas area, which I just love. It's such a good story. So stay tuned for that. But again, a little bit of atmosphere in the background of this interview. Not too bad, but hopefully it'll just make you feel like you were right there with us. So just keep that in mind today. Also, this episode of Detail Therapy is sponsored by my friends at PicMonkey. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, but if you don't already know, PicMonkey is my go-to web photo editor. And not only do they have all the tools that I need, especially as like a beginner photo editor, but they also have amazing templates for fabulous designs that you can create, whether you need to do something cool for like an Instagram post or something on your Facebook ad, or if you need like a resume or some other kind of document template that looks like your personality. You've got to check out PicMonkey. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But with that, I don't want to waste a lot of time today. I think there's a lot of value that Ericka has to share. And so we're going to dig right into it. Let's get into it with my next guest. Ericka Aviles is the founder and creator of Ericka Aviles Consulting. She moved to America in 1989 with her family and ended up in Vegas, where she now leads her community in bettering themselves and their businesses. She specializes in bridging the gap of culture and language between her clients and the audiences they serve. Let's get into it with Ericka Aviles. Ericka Aviles, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because I love the Las Vegas community. I'm a product of this community. I moved here at the age of 6 from El Salvador. We came as an immigrant family, and Las Vegas and this community has been very good to me. And almost 4 years ago, I decided to start my own business where I could focus on giving back to the community and connecting agencies and organizations back to the community and help bridge that gap of connecting them to our local community.
What was happening with your family? Why did they choose Las Vegas? What was going on there?
At that time, we moved here. My dad came in 1985. We moved here in 1989. At that time, Las Vegas was booming and there were jobs. And Las Vegas and the casino industry was a lot more entertaining than picking fruit and crops that my dad did. When he first came, he moved to Fresno and then to Miami, to Florida, and was picking oranges. And at that time, my mom's family had moved out to Las Vegas, and they said, "Come, there's jobs. We have family here. We'll help, get you in the door."
So was he moved out here to kind of like scope out the scene first?
He moved out here to scope out the scene. There was a civil war going on in our country. It's a third world country, and I have a lot of fond memories, but a lot of scary memories. And he wanted to provide a better life for his daughters. So it was me, my mom, and my sister. At that time, I was 6 and my sister was 3. And I still remember when we came, the apartments we moved to right near the Strip, my mom finding a job. We didn't speak English. And my first day of school. So we showed up as, English as our second language. And here you go.
And how are you doing at that point?
Here is America,
Yeah.
And we just knew we were in the land of opportunity at that point. And my parents wanted nothing more for us than to go to high school, go to college, which were opportunities that they never had.
That's both exciting and scary at the same time. Like in terms of like English as a second language and being able to communicate with people and try to get on the same page with them and try to figure out what your life is going to be like. How hard was that when you first started school? Can you remember?
I think we had no choice but to just jump in. And I think that's how I see a lot of things now. It's like you just got to jump in and take the bull by the horns because nobody's going to do it for you. Yeah. And, it was not only was it me figuring out, my situation with school and learning English, but it was also helping my parents who were working 2 jobs, who were trying to put food on the table. It was me filling out like their paperwork, setting up their appointments because they didn't know English either. So I had to play kind of the adult for them too. And we had to grow up very quickly. And probably me as the older sister had to do so much more.
Yeah, I relate to that. Being the oldest ends up being a lot of like guinea pig situation, right? Like, let's see how this goes, right?
For sure.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a good. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
What does it look like when your parents move you here, and it all in hopes for everyone, but especially you kids, to have a better opportunity? What are the kinds of things that they were saying? Like, we want you to go to college. We want, what does a better life look like when you're in that scenario?
Education. They were very strict Catholic family. So it was very much, you have to get great grades. You have to, excel at the classes that you take because you need to go to college and we can't afford to pay for you to go to college. So it was very much the education, and they still are very, very strict, even though, we're grown, but it was that mentality of you need to do really good in school because we sacrificed everything for you to come to this country to provide you this life. And not a lot of people are ever going to have the opportunities that I've had.
And what do you think came from that kind of culture, right? Like, what are the qualities of that relationship and the expectations that you were under? How did that carry into your adulthood?
I realized it more, some of it, full circle as a mom myself now. It's a lot, sometimes fear was instilled in, not getting into trouble, in being perfect, and in, not speaking up sometimes because we don't want you to rock the boat. It's like, we just want you to do good. We're going to go to college. We're going to set you up for success. But, sometimes the motivation was somewhat fear instilled because, we still had family back home that were going through a lot worse things than we were going through.
Yeah, I just feel like that's got to be so much pressure on everyone. Definitely the parents who are like, we're moving everybody, so it's got to work out, you guys.
Yes,
and then the fear takes place with everyone, but to have the fear of, I really want to make my parents proud, that this was the right move for us. So how does that take place today? I know that you're helping so many women with Latinas in Power. Can you talk about what your organization is all about? How did you even get started with that?
Yeah, Latinas in Power was born a little over 2 years ago, and it was as a result of me having various relationships in the community with other Latina women, we would always get together on an ad hoc basis. And, we would talk more personal and some business because we all indirectly or directly worked with one another. And one day before having my first child, I had started a business. I was pregnant, 5 months after. And I said to myself, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure this out? Like, I need to surround myself with people who want to see me succeed, who have similar stories as I do, and who I can relate to and go to for support. So amongst like 4 or 5 friends, I said, hey, can we start going out to lunch once a month? And let's just talk about what are our fears, what are things we need help with, what's going on in your world, and how can we work together? Because as an entrepreneur, it was, I need to continue finding opportunities while I'm still, having a newborn. So it was through that the group has grown organically, and it's been very moms, now younger people, different just generations of how do we support one another, lift each other up, open doors for one another, and share our stories, because we all have similar stories, different backgrounds, but we can relate to one another from coming here at an early age or being born here, but having to care and for our parents, and just different points that make us all unite better and be able to be vulnerable and authentic with each other. Because I didn't see that before here in their community, and that's where it's taken off.
Yeah, and it sounds like you basically just started a mastermind group without really realizing it, and also just saying, look, here's what we have in common, like the most basic of our roots. We're all doing different things.
Yes.
Let's talk about it and just see if some of us know something that would be helpful.
Yes.
And do whatever we can to help each other. So that's got to be infectious.
Yes. Somebody said recently, like, this is a mastermind group, and I had never thought about it that way. I'm just like, but it is, we're always like brainstorming ideas either through our one-on-one lunches, and we're thinking of ways to do new things. Like, I want to make it more educational as well, and have different speakers talk about, morning routines and just different life hacks. How do we balance and manage all of the expectations from us at a professional and a personal level.
Yeah.
With our families. But it's been awesome to see where that's taken off, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to go.
Absolutely. So what are some of the fears that seem to have popped up the most that women in this organization are always going through and trying to help each other through?
Some of the most, recent fears, or at least we were just talking about this within the past week, the self-care. And I don't know, it was more of a fear, but almost like a guilt, right? Of like, how do we make sure we're putting ourselves and making ourselves a priority? We did like an informal at somebody's house, like self-care Saturday. And it was like amongst ourselves, like talking about how to do like face masks, or how to meditate, or how, a therapist came in and how to deal with fear and anxiety. So a lot of that,
that's
the
amazing.
self-care aspect of it, and a lot in the career field too, is how do I, find a job in a different field, or how do I get introduced to this person? Or somebody just told me today, like, how do I ask for a raise at my job?
Yeah. And that last one, I feel like so many people have that question, but it might be even more difficult for people like you who were brought up to not rock the boat and just keep going and just keep doing a good job, and you're super lucky. And it's just,
Yes.
When do you get to decide, I'm really good, I'm showing up, and I deserve more?
Yes.
And I don't have to give any ultimatums. I just can express myself to ask for that.
And touting ourselves within the group, it's really highlighting like what are our small wins or big wins, because and culturally, it is that sometimes that fear instilling, and today's climate doesn't help that as well. And that's where, as women, as Latina women, if we don't have those difficult conversations, if we don't talk about these topics and help mentor and support one another, it's hard to find somebody else who will.
Absolutely.
And, it wasn't until recently I went to a city council meeting here locally. We we voted our first ever Latina woman to the city council of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. That must have been a huge win.
It was, it made me cry, honestly, because, I've lived here for over 20 years now. And it took until I graduated college and went into corporate America to see other women like me in these types of positions, in positions of power and positions of empowerment. And it was a big aha moment for me. Like now, Las Vegas, Nevada we have, the highest legislator with women in the country as well. So it's the time of the woman, and I think the time of Latina women too, to lean in and have that support and not be afraid of seizing the day.
That is so helpful when you're trying to get motivated, right? To be able to look at something like that and say, okay, cool. This is super possible. Look at what's happening.
Yes.
And clearly we're somehow making our desires and what we want to see known, because otherwise, how do you get people like this in office? It's fantastic. How else do you yourself try to stay motivated? What do you do to get on the right track?
Okay, before we get into that, I want to let you know about our dear friends at PicMonkey. They are the partner for this episode of Detail Therapy. If you haven't already heard of PicMonkey, it's because you have not been hanging out with me for very long, and that is okay, but I'm going to tell you now that this is my go-to solution for everyday design needs. You can even ask the people on my team who are very well equipped with fancy other tools, but I'm always like, okay, let's put it in PicMonkey because I know what to do when I get in there. And so we do a lot of our photo editing in picmonkey.com, and it's so easy, so accessible. There's obviously desktop for web, but there's also an application. So if that's more your thing on the go, all of your designs are ready to go right where you left them in your account. In addition to that, which is just a huge help when we're all just trying to well represent ourselves and the way that we appear online, there's also tons of trendy, unique, and new design elements that you can use in PicMonkey. They even have unsplashed stock photos so that you can really make your design look right based on how you want it to feel. I highly recommend you take a look at their templates. So no matter if you need different types of documents made or different type of social media assets, they have ready to go templates that you can drag and drop whatever is the most fitting for your brand and really feel good about it when you share it. And if you also have a team or if you have a couple of people who are helping you, they also have a shared space where you can keep your projects and everybody can go in, copy, view, or edit those shared designs. It's really easy, and collaboration is super important these days because we need everything to be more accessible, more easy, and PicMonkey makes that happen. For me, it's been great on the collaboration side, but more than anything, I just want to be able to go back to my account and find the images that I made where I left them so I can maybe create something similar, use something as a template, or just remember what the heck I made for something and maybe reshare it. It's always good to repurpose what you've done. I think PicMonkey makes that so much easier with their beautiful imagery and design. So definitely check that out. Okay, so here's what you're going to do to give this a try. Head over to picmonkey.love/Amy. That's PicMonkey, PICMONKEY.love, LOVE/Amy, AMY. And when you sign up, you are going to get a free month of PicMonkey. This is so great because you're going to be able to play with all of the things, use all of the tools, store all of your images, and then you're just going to get addicted because it's just so easy to use. Not only that, one free annual subscription is going to be given to a randomly selected person who signs up with my link, and you have to sign up as soon as this podcast goes live. So if you sign up the same day that this podcast is out, then you are in the running for that free annual subscription. So make sure you jump on this offer and just take advantage of that free month so you can poke around and see what is possible. Trust me, from somebody who is not good at design, these are the things you need in your back pocket. Check that out at picmonkey.love/Amy. And now back to my conversation with Ericka.
Well, as an entrepreneur and as a young new mom. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh, wow.
I started my business 4 years ago. I knew I wanted to be my own boss and make my own calls and decisions, but it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work as a mom, and trying to be a community servant as well, right? How can I do both and manage both? So
And meanwhile, you're guilting yourself about not having enough self-care.
yes, right.
So you have to do that too.
I think I really listen to a lot of podcasts, which shameless plug, if I may. Like, I was introduced to detail therapy, to your YouTube channel a little over a year and a half ago, and it's looking for who are these people that are kicking butt at what they're doing, and what can I take away and bring at a level, within my community. And even I just did a LinkedIn video from here, like putting more myself out on video and like doing more stories. I see like what you do on your Instagram, like, hey, it's not, I shouldn't be afraid of sharing my story, of sharing my background, of sharing what I'm up to.
Because you know what's so fun about that? And by the way, thank you. That's so nice. That's so nice to hear. But it's I have to remind myself too, because sometimes I'm like, oh, nobody cares about this. Like, no one cares about that. But actually, the fact that most of us have similar ideas, similar things going on, similar problems, and just putting it out there and letting people, even if they don't, letting them see it. But a lot of times it's just the relatability of it. Just being able to go like, yep, I'm going through that too. Or, oh my gosh, I had the same idea. I'm so glad. It's just nice. We have this opportunity to quote unquote follow people. But the idea is to surround yourself with people who you either would like to be more like or feel really connected to because you are so similar to them.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
and
so
I think
big.
within the Latina group too, we all have similar ideas. There's a lot of them here at this conference. Like, we said today, we should do a TEDx for Latinas. We should do a conference for how to market to Hispanics. Like all of these ideas have been, come up on from this conference in itself. And we all have like-minded, but it's like giving ourselves permission to even think about those things and then to put them out into the universe. Like, oh my God, I said, I told you yesterday, I said, I'm going to meet you one day. And then I go and look at the guide for this conference, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're here. And then now I hear, here I am with you. So it's
awesome.
It's that putting yourself out there, asking not asking for permission, it's just more giving
yourself the permission,
and just being brave, it's to do what you want to do and go after the life you want.
Yeah, do that. I'm going to ask you about that later too. You know it. That's so much fun. And it has so much to do with being okay with wanting things so that you can activate yourself to try to go get them, because they're not just going to land in your lap. And you've very clearly worked really hard for the things that you've got going on and the way you help people, and also the way that it's been able to help you build that life.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Yes.
It's awesome.
You.
I want to hear more about your day-to-day life, if you don't mind. Some details.
Yes.
When do you wake up in the morning? What time is it? And what does your morning routine typically look like?
Well, thanks to you, I set my alarm at 5.
Ooh, how's that going?
Days like today, I got up at 5:30.
Okay.
So
I
gave myself permission to sleep in a little.
There you go.
But, I was not a morning person until I had kids. I had no choice but to become a morning person.
How have children affected your mornings?
My goodness. I don't even know where to start. But how have they make I have to get up before them in order to get what I need accomplished. And
what are those things that you need? Like, what is the minimum that has to happen for Ericka so that you can be the best mom when their eyes open?
I have to work out. So before I would always work out after work, but now with kids, I don't have energy, or I want to spend time with them. So usually I get up 5 o'clock, between 5 and 5:30. I have my lemon water.
Yeah. Isn't it the best?
Yes. I religiously live by lemon water.
I love it.
And this was even, I know, you're a huge fan of lemon. I don't know. Somebody told me about it, and I've been doing it for years.
And
but
it's like, and now it becomes such a habit. It's just like, why do I drink lemon water every day? Oh yeah. Cause it's amazing. Yeah.
And here, in Las Vegas, we have such a dry climate. I'm like chugging water I live with my water
There you
bottle.
go.
So Get up, have my water, and then I make it to the gym between 5:30 and 6.
So is your gym like, do you have to commute to it or?
It's fortunately I signed up. It's 3 minutes away.
Oh, nice.
And
Awesome.
and then, after having my second child, who just turned 1 last 2 weeks ago, it takes a toll on your body, not only, physically but mentally. And I knew, because I always worked out, I practiced a lot of yoga before having my daughters, but even throughout and afterwards, is making time for yoga, for meditation, but also like to get in the gym and, lift some weights and build some muscle. Like it just totally sets my mood and just like makes me want to kick ass every day. Like, it's like, hey, seize the day. I get up, get ready, do all that. And I just feel really good, really good.
That's awesome. So what is some of that self-care that you guys have been learning about in Latinas Empower? Any self-care that you prefer or love to do, even if it's just once a month or once a week, that's taking care of Ericka?
Yeah, I am working on disconnecting. We recently, probably within the past month, stopped watching TV at home.
Altogether.
It's just so much noise and sometimes not positive noise. And when you have 2 little kids too at home, I just wanted some peace and quiet. And I think my husband wanted some to some extent as well. But we said, let's just focus on reading books, on listening to podcasts that will motivate us and, we can learn something from, or go spend time outside. It's just finding these ways to disconnect. And I think the group we talked about, with the group on that self-care day too, is how do we disconnect and be more mindful and spend time for ourselves, like we did like a face mask that day. I can't remember the last time I had done a face mask.
Oh my gosh.
Or somebody talked to us about, like morning routines too. Like, so it was just picking up on these habits, right? Or making them a habit. So those are some of the ones.
That's awesome. What podcasts you guys, by the way, it's so great when you are on the same page as your partner, so you guys can do that stuff together. So like, what kind of podcasts do you guys like listening to?
He does. I listen obviously to your podcast. I love Brittany Crystal as well. He reads a lot of magazines. He loves like Fortune magazines. He's recently taken up golf, which is his like guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to do in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I mean we have a ton of golf courses. So his morning routine on the weekends, he has to get the first tee time to be back in home for breakfast.
That's a good strategy.
That was the only way, I said, okay, you can do it in the mornings and then I'll just work out later in the afternoons when, when the girls are napping. That's our weekend routine. And that's where I really, after having kids, it only emphasized to me the importance of routines for the good of me and as a family. Because we need those routines and we need that structure to function.
Definitely. Are you a big reader?
On audiobooks, thanks to, some of our Clark County Library has awesome books and I listen to a lot. I have the Atomic Habits on my wait list.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, I just downloaded this Do Less. It's a book, so I just started that. That one's on my Kindle.
Too.
So I'm looking forward to your book as well.
Thank you. More to come. Awesome. Well, I would love to hear where everybody can follow you because I just want everyone to see what you're up to, what you're building, and what your family's up to. So where can people follow you online?
Yes, yeah, you can follow me at Ericka Aviles, Ericka Aviles on Twitter, or Ericka Aviles Consulting on Instagram.
Perfect. So in a few minutes, I'd like to challenge you to the Secret podcast if you're up for it.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys can find that in Shine Squad. That's at patreon.com/AMYTV. Before that, though, I'm going to ask you my final question, which is, what does it mean to you to go after the life that you want?
It means spending time with my daughters. I started the business because I wanted to make my own rules, set my own boundaries so I could expose them and give them experiences all over the world.
Ericka Aviles, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's catch the deets from this conversation with Ericka. First, take the opportunities that come your way. You never know what kind of success can come from taking a chance. Here's what I say to this. When you follow your gut, you're going to be doing fine. Because even if something is not the perfect situation, but it's something you really want to do or something you really want to try or something you feel like is going to put you in the right direction, when you know it in your gut, you know you're not going to regret it. So you never know how it's going to go. Take a chance and really look at the opportunities that come your way and decide, you know what, is this going toward what I want to do? Then I'm going to take this opportunity. Next, put yourself out there. It is so important to share your story. Ericka touched on that a little bit here in this chat. And if we're sharing our lives, we really relate to people who might have similar experiences. A lot of times we tell ourselves like, oh, no one's going to care about that. Or I don't know, I'm probably the only one. You're never the only one. Something that has happened to you, something you've gone through, somebody else may know what it's like. And the more you're willing to open up and be a little bit vulnerable, but also present your best self and what you've learned, is you're more likely to attract that tribe that's actually a good fit for you. So don't be afraid to open up and just share more about yourself, because it's usually going to make you the person, not just somebody amongst many. And that's where we start to see real opportunities come our way, when we are memorable as ourselves, as individuals. Finally, give yourself time to become the best version of you. Ericka talks a little bit about having children and how that changed her morning routine. And she realized that what she needs to do is show up for them. And she realized that what that meant and what that meant for her and what that meaning was for her. And we just need to know that how we start a day, what the morning routine is, how it changes in the future. We just need to know that we are making the most proactive approach and that it's the right thing for us and that we are doing ourselves a solid here, okay? So give yourself permission to take time for yourself when you need it, and give yourself permission to do the things that are right for you when you need to. It's not about what everybody else is telling you to do. You know, we all kind of slip up sometimes, and it's because we just had to do it. It's about what was happening in our lives at that time. And we're going to get back to us if we really focus on it and we forgive ourselves for some of the other things that have to happen sometimes. Life happens. Give yourself time. Do your best to be the best version of yourself, knowing that it can't be all the time, and you're going to be awesome. It's going to be just fine. Such a great chat with Ericka. I'm so grateful she was on the show. We had a common connection at the conference, and so it made our connection even more exciting and special, and it was just great to hear about her story. I'm so glad I got to share it with you here today. And if you would like more stuff like this in those earbuds of yours, more advice, more motivation, I'd love to send you some simple steps for living your best life every day. And that is my free audio training, The 7 Essential Details for Going After the Life That You Want. If you would like to receive this audiogram, all you have to do is subscribe to the podcast and then take a screenshot that you subscribed. And when you email that screenshot, send it to hello@detailspodcast.com with audiogram, please, in the subject line. Just shoot it in an email, super easy, and we will get that audiogram over to you, no strings attached. You could also listen to Ericka's secret show today. That's over in Shine Squad at patreon.com/AMYTV. Ericka did a little rapid fire with us after the show. I'd love for you to tune into that. And if you didn't know, there's actually a new podcast every weekday in the Shine Squad secret podcast. So you're definitely going to enjoy a lot more than just the little rapid fire. So check that out. Patreon.com/AMYTV. I'll put a show notes link there for you so it's easy to click. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. If you would like to discover even more actionable details, head over to AMYTV by visiting youtube.com/AMYTV or searching for AMYTV in your YouTube app. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life that you want. Cheers.